We are back on the Falconcast, and I hope you enjoy it today because we have the goat of Houston radio again, who missed a week. So happy to have him back, and a lot of cool stuff to get to. Lawyer Dave's going to pop on with us a little bit. He wants to say hello to AJ, and Dr. Linville's going to pop on for a minute to talk about all the cool things he can do for you. If you want to get in on the show, man, we're everywhere now. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We're on Twitch, and if you want to comment on the Twitch channel, that way we can kind of keep up with you. We'd love to do it. It'll be available on Spotify and Apple Music as well. So a lot of places to get the show. So, such a great response so far from you guys. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm not going to waste any more time. I'll get to all my other stuff in a little bit, but want to bring on the legend, AJ Hoffman. What's going on, brother? Well, maybe I should turn on your mic. That's what I should do.
It did say I was backstage. I wasn't invited to the big boy party yet. How are you, man?
I'm fantastic, man. What's going on in Vegas?
Just like the typical 113, 114 degree days. We had 117 on Sunday. That was fun. So, that's what people in Vegas talk about. We talk about how fucking hot it is. That's our
Well,
move.
guess what? We do the same
But
thing.
it's a dry heat. It's a dry heat.
Yeah, exactly. So is it too hot to land the planes now, or is it been have they been able to do that?
Well, I don't know. I don't work at the airport, but I like no,
You
I haven't
watch the
heard
news.
anything about that. I don't watch the news. What are you, crazy? No, I don't believe in the news.
Oh,
It's
I'm
nonsense.
terrible. I'm terrible about that stuff now. I never watch the news, and in the old marriage, that's all the wife did. So did you hear about this? Did you hear
In the old marriage, I don't know how many times I've heard you use that term. Like it's I don't know, thousands over the years. Thousands.
Is this the newest old marriage? Is that
This is the most recent, yeah. And it was actually like it was a moment where we said something about, but RJ had said something about made a joke about someone having a bunch of wives, and I was like, "You're talking about Fred?" And he was like, "I think Fred's only had like 3," and I was like, "Oh no, it's like up to 5 now." So he's it's moving on up.
It's 3.5. I'm in a competition with Norman Chad. I always text him whenever I get divorced because I think he's on his 3rd, so I'm slightly ahead with the half wife. So yeah,
And you still got room to go, man.
Oh yeah, well we hope so. I mean, I hope
You
I
got
live a little
plenty of time to make another bad life choice.
Oh yeah, well I mean that's it's kind of my MO, my friend. But hey, before we get to the fun stuff, we didn't get this on the first show, but I wanted to just say a couple words about our good friend Tracy that we lost here recently.
Yeah.
Really, it's just really sad to get that news. I mean, she put together all the trips that we did to Vegas for the fights. We all spent a lot of time together, killing brain cells, and with our little group, and just a sweet lady, and really sorry to see her go.
Yeah, like it's a big loss to the boxing world. Like I mean, she's not someone that everybody would know her name, but Tracy Bowden is who Fred is talking about. But she set up all the radio and television stuff for all the big boxing fights. So yeah, it's certainly going to be felt.
Yeah, she had a big impact that you guys may not know or see, but just the guests she would get and all the stuff she would do to promote those fights, and it is a big loss. So, it's just sad. But let's get to some fun stuff because all right, I had this argument with Tiny Greg Monday, and we used to argue about this on the national show, and I'm guessing you're going to agree with me on this, but maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong, and if it's 2-1, I will shut up.
Is this pineapple on pizza or something? No,
it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. I mean, that's dumb. Nobody does that. But no, and it's not. Is a hot dog a sandwich? There's so many dumb things on Twitter sometimes that I like. Or is a boneless wing a chicken wing or whatever? Like, stop, guys. Does it matter if you like it? Who cares, right?
Eat it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but we argue about what is the worst sports month of the year, and I think it's July without a doubt because there's just nothing happening. He insists it's February, and I'm like, man, we got college basketball getting important. Even though it's NBA regular season and NHL regular season, we got games, we got plenty to bet on. It's like I don't even think it's close. Like all I have right now is CFL, and I mean you got MMA all the time. You can always bet MMA, and this is a good month for MMA, but for the most part, this month sucks for sports.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm with you, I'm Team Fred on this.
All right.
Like
Suck
baseball's
it, Tiny
fun,
Greg.
but baseball's fine, but it's not like you don't build your day around watching a baseball game. Like at least I don't. I mean, maybe there's people who do, but like football is the best time of year, obviously, because it's like that build up all week long, and like there's only I say build up. There's only a couple days. Like there's not really football on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and when college football gets going, it's on Tuesdays too. But like there's almost always something to look forward to. Now it's like well, weekend will be here. There'll be some fights.
Yeah.
I mean, I could watch another regular season baseball game. Those don't seem to matter much. So I'm Team Fred on this. July, the worst sports month.
Thank you. So suck it, Tiny Greg.
And
Just
by
so
the way,
you know.
usually the Super Bowl happens in February.
Right.
Like, stop it. Like, yeah, you can't just say, "Well, that's at the beginning of the month." It's in February. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a far superior sports month.
Yeah. His big pitch was Wimbledon, and I'm like, I'll take the Super Bowl over Wimbledon. Just
Yeah,
a little bit, just a little bit.
yeah,
So I wanted to ask you, since I got a bunch of stuff from last week that I hope we can get to some of it. That
yeah. What'd you
I
guys
wanted.
do without me? It must have been terrible.
Patrick Creighton came on.
Oh, okay. Well, listen.
You know what? It actually was good for me because I wasn't feeling great, and I'd had one of my episodes earlier in the day, and so Patrick, you just wind him up and he goes.
You say one of your episodes, like where you drink too much and you fall down, like one of those
No.
episodes, or a different kind?
This is related to my health issues, but
Oh, okay.
but
Not
yeah,
organic, the more organic. Those.
yeah, and it's just one of those things where, especially if I get really stressed out, then I have one of them. So,
And you were
um,
stressed that I wasn't going to be on the show, and it was probably
yeah,
going to
that's
be
what
a
it was.
failure.
No, well, it was
Yeah.
earlier in the day. It was before I talked to you. Yeah, but since you've been in Vegas, do you follow the Raiders more, or you just or are they just another team for you?
They're just another team. I don't really think about them the way I did the Texans, like because the shows that I do now are more nationally based.
Right.
So no one talks about the Raiders more. Like where I work, nobody talks about the Raiders any more or less than any other team. So, um, so I would say, yeah, they're just one of 32.
Yeah, because I was wondering about this whole Josh Jacobs thing because it looks like they may actually just rescind the tag and make him a free agent. And
We did a lot of talk on that topic. Yeah, like, it's pretty wild to think that Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing last year, and basically, like, remember, and this is the big difference between Saquon and Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs, they didn't pick up his fifth year option, which on your rookie deal, that's how you make real money on your rookie deal is you get that fifth year picked up,
right.
and that's the most profitable year on your rookie deal. The Raiders said, no, we're not going to pick that up. So that meant this was like his last season. It led the league in rushing, and then they franchise him. It's like, well, you could have had this year for cheaper. You decided not to, and now like you basically said, we're going to let you go, and then he performed well, so now they don't want to let him go. It's a weird spot because Josh Jacobs hasn't made the kind of money like Saquon Barkley's made $40 million in his career.
Yeah.
And so if the tag this year is like 10.1. So if Saquon Barkley sits out a year, which he's talked about doing, I mean, when you've made $40 million, if you never make another dollar, you can still live pretty comfortably, live that kind of lifestyle. When you've made $10 million, which I'm acting like $10 million is nothing, but I mean, relative to the lifestyle these guys want to live, relative to the lifestyle you would think a guy who won a rushing title would be living, it's not quite that. So I think Josh Jacobs is in a weird spot where he should be getting more money, but I don't know that he will. And I asked this question, and I'll ask you, Fred. So Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley are both turning their nose up at $10.1 million. Like, is there any team in the NFL who, if Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs became free agents, would give them like $14 million a year for 3 years? Like the word is that's what the Giants offered Barkley $28 million over 2 years. Is there a better offer out there that I just can't picture? Because I think in the world that we live in today with these running backs, no one wants to be the next team to do a Zeke Elliott, where you sign a guy to 6 years, $90 million, and then you go, oh, after 3 years, it's like, oh, this is no good. We've got this other young guy who's way cheaper. Let's use him. And that's what every team is doing. It's use them through their first contract. If you sign a running back to his second contract, it takes him into that age 30 range, which we know, like with very few exceptions, those guys become shells of themselves. There's not a lot of Adrian Petersons out there who after age 30 are useful top end NFL running backs. And you're going to be paying them the most at that point. It just doesn't make sense. So it's not totally fair to running backs because they have a short shelf life. On my show, we used a term called the age curve. And the age curve is for running backs starts basically as soon as they get in the league. A rookie running back can be super impactful day one. You know, Breece Hall, we saw him last year. He was on his way to being the rookie of the year until he got hurt. For quarterbacks, like usually it takes a couple years. Trevor Lawrence's first year, Trevor Lawrence was the biggest quarterback prospect in 10 years. Year one, he looked terrible. So it's like that curve starts early with running backs, and because I guess just because of the way the position is, they start to leak oil earlier than other positions. They take such a pounding, and they're not built like a tight end or whatever. They're not built to constantly get beat up like that. So the age curve starts to decline right around the time that it's time to get your second contract. So do you want a guy who's declining that you're going to have to pay more, or do you want to just move on from him, draft a new guy? And I'm telling you, teams are going to start drafting multiple running backs every year because there's enough of them to go around. You just got to keep trying until you hit one, because that's a low cost investment versus signing one that you've got to a second deal. And the very few exceptions will be the guys who are elite pass catchers on top of being good runners. The Kamaras, the Christian McCaffrey, obviously, Austin Eckler still hasn't gotten paid. But those are the guys who are going to have real value, because not everybody can do that. There's a shit ton of guys out there walking around the street. There's guys at Herman Park who can run the ball in the NFL. Can they block? Can they catch the ball? Can they be on the field for 3 downs? Those are the rare beasts. But I think you're going to see we're starting to see already a real shift in the way the running back position is treated.
Well, that's something you and I used to talk about a lot. It's like I would never use a high draft pick on a running back because you can find that guy. You just have to be good at it. Arian Foster was an unsigned free agent. Austin Eckler was an unsigned free agent. And yes, there are some of those guys that have worked out. But as much as I like Bijan Robinson, I wouldn't have taken him in the top 10. Now, if he was there top of the second round, I think that's your running back. That's your window for the running back.
I used to always be don't draft running backs in the first round. I'm now coming around to understanding why you do, because now if you draft one in the first round, you have that 5th year. And if they're really good, you can have a 6th year of them. And then after that, they're going to be gone anyway. If you draft them later, you're in the position you are with Pollard, where Pollard, you don't have team control of for as long. And it's like, well, I mean, now you've got a real conundrum. Do we pay this guy? Do we keep him around? Whereas with Bijan, 6 years from now, either he'll go somewhere else, more than likely, and the Falcons will draft someone else, or the Falcons, if he's just like all-time legendary, or if somehow the game changes drastically over the next 6 years, they'll have a real decision to make. But 6 years is about how long you want a running back for. And if you draft them in the first round, that's how long you can control them for.
Well, but then they also break a lot. And that's one of the toughest positions in terms of contact, because it's not just them running the football and 5 guys pounding on them at the end of the run. They also have to pass block. And I mean, they get hit on almost every single play. And I think that's why you see the whole Logan's Run concept where you die at 30. That's what these guys kind of are. And not all of them, like you said, Adrian Peterson was
there's exceptions, like quarterbacks after 40, besides Brady, they're all the same. Besides Adrian Peterson, they're pretty much all the same.
Yeah, and but I think this is an interesting spot that the Raiders have put themselves in. And let's be honest, the Raiders haven't been very well run,
No.
and they've had some good teams, but they've also just some of these decisions they make, and you pick up that option, you're paying less, and then you're worrying about this next year. And it's not a shock that the guy led the league in rushing in his contract year. And it's also he also catches the ball out of the backfield pretty well, so he's a good weapon. But yeah, I think they just kind of messed this one up. I got one more Vegas question for you. Obviously, it looks like the
Go
A's are
Knights,
moving in
go.
there.
Oh,
What?
I thought you said go Knights, go.
No, I did not say go Knights go.
I'm a
But I
lifelong fan.
are the kids into the Knights at all?
They are, yeah. I mean, it's the Knights are a bigger deal here than the Raiders. Like,
Yeah.
I know that sounds crazy, but this is a hockey town. Like, and I'm not talking about just since the Stanley Cup.
No, they
Prior
were.
to that, it's
Yeah.
a bigger show. It's a tougher ticket to get to the Knights games than it is to Raiders games, which is I never in a million years would have thought that. But they grabbed on to the hockey team like this is our baby. And then the Raiders, they're like, well, that's Oakland's cast off, which eventually I'm sure the A's will be too. But man, people here love the Golden Knights, love them. And I mean, obviously winning was huge. But even before that, this is a hockey crazy city, man.
Yeah, and that's kind of what leads to my question because, we were out there a lot that first year, especially, and the whole city would stop, right? And everybody was wearing Knights gear. I mean, they embraced that team, and I think it was because it was the first team in Vegas, and they fell in love from the beginning. It didn't hurt that they made it to the Stanley Cup the first year, but I don't see that going backwards. So, how much sports can Vegas actually support? Because the Knights are pretty entrenched. You got an NFL team there. You throw the athletics in there. I know the NBA wants in.
Yeah,
Can Vegas support all of that?
absolutely. Yeah, this town is blowing up. It's growing. People are moving here, and on top of that, we used to go to Vegas and we'd say like, well, let's go hit a Knights game. Like if
Yeah.
you're in town and there's a game right across the street from your hotel, that's entertainment. So it's like if you say, okay, do I want to go watch Cirque du Soleil tonight or do I want to go watch the Knights game? Like it's just another one of those entertainment options. Vegas does there's not like a cap on how much entertainment can be had in Vegas. It's not like every other town where you have to count on the locals to keep the sports franchises
Right.
alive. And on top of that, I mean, particularly I think this with the NFL, it's no doubt. If you're the kind of fan who takes a road trip a year to watch your team play, of course you're going to pick, oh, they're going to Vegas to play the Raiders. Let's go
Yeah.
there. It's the easiest road trip to make. Like it's built for this. And um the way that they have handled the Golden Knights, the way that they've done, I mean, really the Raiders, it's worked out really well, man. Like the stadium's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like it's legit state of the art. And they're obviously going to build if they're going to build a new stadium for the A's. From everything I understand, if or when LeBron is part of an ownership group that takes the NBA to Vegas, they're going to want their own arena that's not T-Mobile, which I'm sure will be again. You're not going to build a new arena and make it like some cookie cutter crumb bum stadium in Vegas. It doesn't happen. So I really think that they can handle all of those franchises.
Yeah, you're not. I don't think you're going to build a better one than T-Mobile. You might build one that's as good, but that's as good of an arena as I've ever been in.
What's
And
crazy is it's not even like the premier entertainment venue in town anymore because they built that fucking Sphere, which is it's the most insane thing in the world. It's like it's a building that's a billboard that you can see from like airplanes. It's like
yeah,
it's insane. Like when the summer league was here, they turned it into a basketball. And it's like that was the NBA paid millions of dollars to turn the Sphere into a basketball and advertise with it. And then when it's not bought out, it's just randomly like a flaming orb, or like on the 4th of July, they did a fireworks show on it. Like it's a really awesome thing. They are building incredible things out here. You mentioned T-Mobile, that Sphere, the Raiders Stadium. I think the A's Stadium is going to be no exception. Like they don't penny pinch on the strip. Like they just don't. If they built a new casino tomorrow, it wouldn't be the Tropicana. Like it would be whatever the biggest, newest, fanciest thing could be.
Yeah, it's funny. Somebody tried to argue with me that Las Vegas wouldn't be a great place for a Super Bowl, and I go, I don't think there's a better place for a Super Bowl. You want to talk about a place that can handle an event like that and still
Yeah.
have 300,000 anime fans there for something else and not miss a beat? Yeah, that's Vegas.
And like
That's
it's people don't think about this, but like a lot of the big time entertainment city, like I love New Orleans. I love it. New Orleans is a dirty town. Like there's especially like in the entertainment areas. Like
Mhm.
I mean, you've been down Bourbon Street. There's a smell that you can only say, well, that's I don't know what it is exactly, but that's what Bourbon Street smells like. Like Vegas, for as many people as constantly are churning in and out of here, the Strip, especially like the entertainment district, stays incredibly clean. And like even Fremont is like they keep it up so well now that even old Vegas isn't like dirty old Vegas like you'd like to think. Like this town, for a town that hosts so many people constantly, they find a way to keep it clean, which is I think another factor. Like people aren't like they used to be. Like, oh, I don't want to go to Vegas. It's seedy in Vegas. Vegas isn't seedy anymore. It's just it's the home of opulence.
Yeah, and that strip is really clean. All right, let's. I got an old friend who wants to talk to you. You might remember him.
Hello, Dave.
Lawyer Dave's in the house. Unmute your microphone, Dave.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's muted himself. Because I definitely have him on here.
Nothing makes you feel old like talking and no one can hear you. And it's like, oh, damn it. How do I use this technology? It happens to me all the time.
Like, can you sign language? Well, he'll figure it out. Just if your microphone's probably is muted, I'm sure. So we'll keep talking, and when you're ready, jump in. But yeah, I wanted to talk to Lawyer Dave. He wanted to catch up with AJ a little bit, and yeah, he might have got me a little drunk last night. So
it was him. Lawyer Dave did that. You didn't do that to yourself.
Yeah, like I say no to anybody. But anyway, he's gone now. R.I.P. Lawyer Dave.
He waved at me though. That felt good.
He did. So did you see this Draymond Green stuff? I was going to ask you, do you think NBA players are the most weak mental guys out there?
Oh, that's a good question. Relative to
any other sport?
Yeah. I mean, at least like of the major sports, I don't think it's even a question. Like I don't know enough about soccer, but I think any sport where like flopping is a major part of your game, you're probably pretty weak.
Yeah, I don't follow enough of the major soccer stars to know if they go full Kevin Durant or Draymond Green all the time. So I can't speak to that one. Dave, can you actually talk now? That sounds like a hard no.
No.
Okay. Try it on your phone. It works on the phone. Anyway, yeah, I just saw that Draymond thing. And well, I'm going to tell you about Lawyer Dave, because if you need a lawyer, 713-626-8900. He handles everything. He's primarily a personal injury guy, but if you give him a call, if you got any legal question, if he can't do it, he gets it to somebody who does. If you don't have a case, he'll tell you. If you do have a case, but if you do have a case and he takes it, then basically, you don't pay a dime until you win. That's how it works. He gambles on himself. He gambles on you. And between that, he does very, very well. He just got back from Amsterdam working on a huge case. And there's a lot of stuff. He handles all my stuff. And you
got me out of some trouble.
Yeah, I got AJ out of some trouble. And as I always say, if you're in an accident, then you're in Houston, you're going to be in an accident. It's going to happen. I see him every day, at least 5 a day, just walking around when it's not 150 degrees. Then he's your guy, because even if it's just dealing with your insurance company, those guys have lawyers. You need a lawyer. So Lawyer Dave, 713-626-8900. You can always hit me up. And if you forget that, and I'll get you the number. So if you need a lawyer, better dial Dave. And hopefully Dave will figure out a way to dial where he can actually get in. So,
Hopefully, when you call Dave, he can talk back to you.
yeah, I don't know. How do you think that would sound? I don't know. I mean, you could try it. I mean, because I have the phone on the computer too, so it's it's the same audio basically. So yeah, I'll try that. And while I'm doing that, tell me about pregame because I know you guys have done. I mean, this is your place to go. You get picks. That game center is one of the most useful things I've ever found. And now you got a great podcast network.
Yeah, thank you, man. Pregame.com. Obviously, we've talked to RJ for a lot of years on this show or on our show, and being out here and being a part of it is certainly something to see. But I say, if you're thinking about it, like even there's no pressure to buy picks or whatever, but if you're thinking about it, that's a place to go just for information. The forums, there's great information there. Fred mentioned the game center, which I think is a very useful tool. And again, like there's a ton of guys who have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. And I do the morning show with Scott Seidenberg, Monday through Friday. You can find that straight out of Vegas AM, wherever you find your podcast. Subscribe, please. And then the Dream Preview, there's just search for RJ Bell's Dream Preview. There's tons of podcasts that are going up every week, including our boy Will Doctor, who keeps just hammering out like long shot winners in these golf tournaments. So yeah, tons of stuff. And like my UFC card's up right now. So there's a lot of stuff going on at pregame all the time.
Yeah, who's the guy he had a couple of weeks ago that was 55-1?
Sepp Strapa to win the John Deere, and he hit it, and then he came within he had the leader in the clubhouse at 100-1 for the Scottish last week, and then Rory birdies the last two holes, like the two toughest holes on the course, and beats him by one stroke. So he had 100-1 that was ready to cash, and then Rory pulled off a miracle. So Will is on fire right now, man.
Yeah, that I was watching the John Deere, and all I could think of was that guy looks like he should be driving a Panzer tank. But
made me some money, baby. Made me some money.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he knows what he's doing. I mean, and he's really knowledgeable, and he's got some great prop bets and stuff. And yeah, you guys do a great job with those pods. I listen, every now and then, and I always.
You don't listen every day? What do you mean, Fred? How dare you? What, are you busy? Come on.
A little busy trying to build this thing and some other businesses that hopefully are about to take off. But
as long as you're subscribed, Fred, I don't care. It's all good.
Okay, fair enough. But so guys, check it out. And AJ's, and the reason he couldn't be here last week, he's busy. I mean, this is a real job and a real busy one. How's RJ doing?
He's doing well, man. As usual. He actually got a haircut last week, and he looks like 30 years younger instantly. Wow. He walked in, I didn't recognize him. So yeah, it's a smart move by him to get that haircut. But he's real busy. He's constantly working on, like he does one pod a week, really. Like every once in a while he'll sit on our morning pod, but very rarely. But he's grinding on the back end of things, like trying to put together an app, trying to put together, like he is real big on putting together these like spreadsheets that you can get out to the average bettor so they can see trends and see see data. He is data driven, and there's a lot of stuff out there, and he's just trying to put it all together, create the better like an analytically driven box score. He's constantly working on that kind of stuff on the backside. So he's doing well.
Yeah, and I think people forget, your relationship and mine too go back years. And RJ is one of those guys who, using analytics and using a smart approach to things, really changed the way a lot of people looked at betting. Because when we first had him on, we were all still scumbags, and backroom guys, and Jimmy the Greek types. And RJ really changed that by bringing analytics to it and bringing logic to it, frankly.
Yeah, no doubt. He was like kind of at the forefront of gambling being socially accepted, like in at least in the media. He really came to fame during the Tim Donaghy episode,
Yeah.
and everything real, which is crazy, but everything for sports betting has kind of gone uphill since then, mostly because everything became a lot more regulated after that.
Yeah, and it's a shame that we still don't have it here in Texas. But that was
It's a
one of
joke.
the things that kind of shocked me was when I was doing the thing for Mac that he came out against it. And it's like, we have a site with betting information. What are you doing?
Well, why did he have a reason why he would be against it?
It's all the typical stuff people say that oh, people will get addicted and all that, and it's all the old arguments that we've heard for years.
It's all taking
And
away freedoms, like, because
yeah,
who wants more freedom? Like, to decide for your own what you can handle, what you can't handle. Yeah, like, I think that, yeah, we've talked about this before on our old show. Like, the politicians in Texas, politicians from every other state that surround Texas are in their pockets saying, please don't have gambling in Texas, because if there was gambling in Texas, there wouldn't be gambling in Louisiana. There wouldn't be gambling in Oklahoma or
New
New
Mexico.
Mexico or
Yeah.
Arkansas. Every state that borders Texas is poor, which I don't know how else to say it. It's not a nice thing to say, but they're poor states. And if you go to one of those casinos, which all happen to be very close to the Texas
Yeah.
border, like,
Yeah.
I mean, look no further than Oklahoma. It's like the first exit, after
Right.
after you cross the border. But you go to those casinos, and every license plate in the parking lot says Texas on it, because that's where the money's at. And the idea that Texas hasn't gotten there is baffling to me. Even
Well,
like sports betting, like, let DraftKings come in. It's absurd.
That's what they were talking about, and like Tillman's for it, all the teams are for it, and then Matt came out totally against it, and I'm like, and it surprised me because, well, for a lot of reasons, and it's just like, okay, so that I think I have another theory on it. I'm never going to share publicly, but I just thought it was a really weird take. About Lawyer Dave. Now can we hear you?
Can you hear me now, fellas?
Yes.
We got him. Look at that.
Hey, all right. All right.
Well done.
AJ, good to see you, my brother.
Good to see you, Dave. How are you, my man?
I am doing quite well. I have over 1,000 lawsuits on file in Harris County. Fortunately, none of them are for either of you two.
Oh, that's great news. Thank you. Thank you.
Not yet. It's early yet.
Although Fred was overserved last night. I heard him talking about it when I was muted, and I take full responsibility. I made him drink Rumplemans.
Rumplemans. Oh,
God. Yeah, that's my go-to shot. No, I
you
knew
guys 23, 24. What's happening here?
I'm regressing as a human being.
Yeah, you're like Benjamin Button.
Yeah, I knew when we.
What's next? Jaeger bombs? Is that the next thing up?
Well, yeah, it's funny. Like, Jaeger bombs used to be the thing, then it became Fireball.
Yeah.
I don't know when that changed, when that flipped. And Fireball, like, there's so much sugar in that thing, I'll go into a diabetic coma the second I take it. So, not that Rumplemints is that much better, but no, my shot clock went off when we were at PJ's. I'm like, I just need to go home. Dave's like, no, I got this cool place. It's always the last place you go when you know you've gone too far. So
yeah, we went to listen to some live music last night, and Fred lasted about a half of a set. And he said, you got to take me home. I said, okay. So I took him home, and then he's got about 25 stairs to climb up to his unit. So I followed him
18
to make sure that he didn't come tumbling back down. So he made it.
Yeah, I have yet to fall down those stairs.
No, it's coming. It's coming.
I've had people help me get up those stairs. I'm more worried about the dog pulling me down the stairs, because she almost did that the other day when she saw a squirrel. So, like, I'm really careful going down there. But yeah, but you know what? It's such a cool place. If I can manage the stairs while I'm drunk, everything's good. So far, so good. Been here since March, so no deaths yet. But that's kind of why, though, I've kind of got this thing in my head. Okay, this is as much as you need to drink before you go home.
Well, that's
I know you can get up the stairs with this. Anymore, now it's iffy. You know, you're going to be crawling up them.
You know what you need to get is one of those chairs you can sit in, and then it takes you up the banister like you're an old lady. Like you just sit down and then you push a button and it's like an elevator that takes you up the stairs.
Yeah.
And then you
I
get
like
off.
that idea.
That's a good
I'm afraid
idea.
that's coming for other reasons because my knees and back are just gone. So,
And your
There-
neck.
I mean, hey, double duty.
So Fred, have you discussed your future plans as far as horse racing with AJ today?
no, I haven't.
Well,
Fred, you're going to be a jockey.
that's
No,
in
we
the
actually
future.
we actually owned a horse. We made about $136 off of it, but we owned a horse.
Well, there you go.
Of course, it
Yeah,
doesn't cost anything to maintain a horse either. No, it's cheap.
Yeah, no, I'll talk about that later. That's Dave and I have a interest in a really cool horse company that just made a big deal. So, it's not owning horses; it's related to horse health. So,
Yeah, Fred's the man. He's always out there scuffling, trying to find a good gig, and I give him
Fred
a
is
lot
a
of love
hustler.
for that. So AJ, tell me what's new in your world, man.
There's not a lot new, man. I was just telling Fred, it's just hot as balls. Like when people say, "What's been going on?" You just say, "Oh, it's 112 degrees." Guess what I'm doing? I sit in the air conditioner. That's my move. Like every once in a while, I have to drive from my house to the office or back, and then I've got about 5 minutes of extreme pain when I sit in my car, where like your legs are on fire and your back's on fire, but then the air conditioner kicks in and you're good until the next time you got to go somewhere.
Well, I'll be out there at the end of August. My wife is a slot sucker, and the Cosmo sent her an invite to win 100,000 in a slot tournament. We've done this before.
All right.
We have not won it yet, however, but I've got a new technique for her, which is instead of just using one finger, that she used the bongo method and that she hits the button faster. I think that's the right way to approach it.
Historically works. So, Fred, you should come out with him. We'll make it a party. We'll all get some beers.
Yeah,
I'd love to, but that's the week he's going the week of our big fundraiser here that we're doing with the
I
Phoenix.
can't believe Dave's missing out on the fundraiser. What a jerk.
No,
yeah. I have a fancy wife, AJ. What can I say?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. You know, my band's headlining, and we've got a bunch of famous people are going to be there to take pictures and pick me events, and they're going to have some great chefs there and barbecue pits and things like that. And I don't know the ticket price yet, but they probably would have gotten a ticket from me. So
it's less than $5,000.
It is less than $5,000, and there's no
There you
fees
go.
like it was when you were
Fair
buying boxing
price.
tickets. So I think it's going to be $100. It'll be worth it. It's going to be the fantastic new venue that they just bought over on Navigation, because I was worried that we were going to do it there and it was going to be outside, even us going on at 9:00 at my age, and even doing a shorter set in the heat at that time of day, even though it's cooler. I would say put me in your Deadpool if we were going to do that, because I don't know if I would have made it. But Dave,
Fred,
thanks
you're already in mine, bud.
I should be in everybody's.
Don't worry not.
True.
Dave, before we let you go, just give them the number again and tell them what you can do real quick.
Well, I'm a personal injury lawyer. I've represented thousands of clients. I have over 1,000 now. We're a very busy office. And the telephone number is 713-626-8900. Or you can find me through Fred. And I bet even AJ has some contact information for me from the old days.
Still got it.
Yeah. I take any type of call, and be glad to talk to anybody about their situation. If I can't help you, I probably know somebody who can, and I'm glad to do it.
All right, Dave. Appreciate you. Glad you still have a voice. I was worried about you after last night. So
No, Fred. Unlike yourself, Fred, I was on the beginning of my night. You on the.
Oh, I wasn't going to come out, but I'm not saying no to you. So anyway, I'll talk to you this weekend, brother. Have a good one.
Sounds good. It's good talking to you, AJ. See ya.
You too, Dave.
All right.
All right. So
You forgot to say you better dial Dave.
Well, I said that. I
Oh,
did the
okay.
whole read. So
Okay.
I'm not. I still remember these things just like you
Okay.
do. I'm okay at
You're still a pro.
I don't know about being a pro. I don't know that we were ever pros. I mean, we were just two dudes having fun. It's kind of like it is now.
They at least gave us money for it, which was great.
Yeah. Well, but we both had the knowing of a lot of things. How's that?
That's it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, you know what? I just thought about this. Good drinking game for one of these Thursdays. Like, everybody does a shot every time I do some obscure movie reference. Because it's not intentional. It's just stuff that pops in my head, right? And some days, I mean, there's probably going to be 3 or 4 that I know I'm going to do just because that's my baseline. But boy, if I get into a day where it's like 8, we can get everybody smashed.
Fezzik does this. But he always quotes the exact same movies over and over. So it's like Fast Times he's only watched like 20 movies in his life. So every time he does it, RJ just charges him $20. Like every time he quotes one of those movies. So, I mean, taking shots would be more fun for sure.
Yeah. And obviously there'll be a lot of rounders. There's always a lot of rounders and there's a lot of tombstone, but I mean, like you, I've probably watched 2,000 movies and there's always something that sort of stands out. So I want to
be proud. My boys watched Shawshank Redemption the other day. First time they'd seen it. Yeah, they were impressed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've been using as my example for how my life has been over the last 6 months. I crawled through the 500 yards of foul smelling, you know what, and came out and threw the arms up in the air in the rain. So, hey, let's another longtime friend of ours that I want to bring in for just a minute. And look at his hair. Dr. Kane Linville is here. I'm hoping
what a
your
guy.
microphone works.
Guys, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Working on boobies today or hair?
Boobs earlier. No hair today.
Nice.
All boobs. Yeah.
How'd they go?
Great.
Man.
One was new and one was fixing other people's boobs, you know?
Oh, that's the worst. Cover-up job. You know?
Yeah. Revising other boobs is always more difficult.
Well, I want to have you on. Hopefully, I can get you on again Monday and we talk a little more.
Yeah.
Dave had problems with his microphone, so we had to push him back. But I wanted to get you on with AJ because, shocker, these are our most popular Falconcast so far.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, we're doing really well with the other ones, and they like the other guests. But I mean, it's always fun to have AJ because, and it's easier for me because, I mean, like I said, we did this for so long.
You got your flow and get the team back together.
Yeah, it's just fun to get the band back together.
That's great.
But you know, I had the graphs done. Was it 3 years ago now?
It's been a while,
and they've all held up. I mean, I could use another round because I still got that patch on the back of my head.
Yeah.
But I know you did it a second time, right?
Yeah, I've done it like 2.5 times basically. So the third time was maybe 500 graphs or something, but the first 2 were full sessions. So I guess I'd be a bald, like hideous creature if I hadn't done it, you know? So it does sometimes take more than one, but the last time I kind of filled in the sides and filled in the back. So it just depends on your genetics and lifestyle, I guess, that kind of stuff.
Fred's genetics and lifestyle, both horrible. So,
yeah, you want to talk about hideous. Jeez. Yeah. You're a handsome doctor with a full head of hair, and then I'm this.
Well, your hat covers it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, the hair is fine. I like wearing hats, and I like mixing it up a little bit. But
yeah, of course.
I actually, the first one of these we did, I didn't wear hats, so I could, when I was doing the live reading, I could just show it, say, hey, look, because especially from the front, it looks really good.
Yeah, that's usually the key. We'll start off up front, and if somebody's really bald, we'll start off up front. And that's kind of a whole day, like that much. You can kind of cover that much in a day. And then sometimes I tell patients, we're going to have to just plan on doing a second one, but getting that front restored is a big deal.
Yeah. And you know what? And I've talked about this a lot on the show. No anesthesia. They just numb you. And I will say this, I probably shouldn't have gone to work that day. I went to work that day. Yeah, because I was a little bit out of it, which no different than me being drunk or stoned on air, right?
Yeah, no big deal.
Always a little out of it.
Yeah,
same thing.
But yeah, so if they can get, if they call you or go to the website, then they're going to get the consultation for fee waived, right?
That's right.
So you can look at their head for free.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's easy. The process is easy, and yeah, we'll waive the fee. I think I'm going to ask your all's opinion on, what we should do for the name of the landing page. So, kind of resembling the podcast name, like, Fred Falcon Hair, or Get Fred's Hair.
What about fixyourtits.com?
That might actually get a lot of people clicks, right?
Yeah.
That'll get a lot of clicks.
And part of the deal could be you fix Fred's, like get them looking like they were when he was 20.
Yeah, I need to firm these up.
He needs a lift.
We'll get you chiseled out. We're gonna do the Hercules procedure.
You actually did do one of my wife's friends' boobs. So
okay, perfect. There you go.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah, it's not just that though. He does all kinds of plastic surgery. He's great at it, and and so if you want to get something done, and I mean, there's nobody else to go to. But as far as the hair goes, this is a great thing, and just go to hairspecialisthouston.com. And Kane, good to have you on, brother.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll talk to you again Monday. I want to get caught up with you a little bit on what's going on in your life besides just boobs and hair.
That'd be great. Love seeing you guys back together, man. Have a good one.
All right,
Yeah,
thanks, brother.
Take care.
We need to figure out a way to get Jong or Aaron to pop on with us for a show.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Aaron. Yeah, I just got to make sure it's not going to interfere with anything Aaron's doing. But pretty sure Jong would be free, and I'm sure he'd be down.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I like the idea of popping in some of our old friends for short segments here, and yeah, good talking to him. But we talked a little TV before he came on, and I don't know if this is your influence or not, but man, I'm watching almost all documentaries now.
Are true crime documentaries? That's what I like.
True crime documentaries. Well, some of them historical documentaries.
Okay, I like
So,
true crime, and my wife has got me watching cult documentaries, so I watch a lot of both of those.
Yeah, I've seen a couple. Did you see the one about
Yes.
the Oregon? The
Oh
Oregon
yeah,
guy?
yeah.
I had never heard that story,
Yeah.
even though I was in high school about that time.
I-
And see, those are the ones I like.
I hadn't heard it either, but my wife is from Oregon, so she knew all about it. So she was in
okay.
the know. Like the true crime stuff, she can't touch me on. Like almost every story I already know before we watch the documentary. But that one was new to me too.
Yeah, and I praised you last week. I was going to do it in person, but you were telling me about the Making of a Murderer podcast forever, and I finally watched it on Netflix. And I'm like, oh wow, this is good.
Oh, it's good, man. So what do you think? Do you
yeah,
think do you think he's guilty or not guilty?
If I had been on that jury, I would not have. I mean, I think there was enough reasonable doubt from the syringe and the blood thing, from no witnesses, no body. I mean, they found bones.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me, it's you should have to be able to prove a little more than that.
I agree.
That doesn't mean he's innocent.
That's where I stand. There's another one. Have you seen the documentary about Scott Peterson? Like killed his wife, pregnant wife. I watched that documentary. I was like, there's no way they can convict this guy. Like they had literally no evidence that he was the kid. Like all they had was he's her husband. He was cheating on her. Had to be him. And that dude's on death row. It's crazy. Yeah. So it opens your eyes a little bit, man. Our justice system can be wild.
Well, yeah, and the one thing though, with almost all these documentaries is they're a little slanted from the defense side, because there's some evidence that they didn't highlight in that Making of a Murder that was just referred to that kind of favored the prosecution. But I mean, a good lawyer, when we just had one on, would poke holes in all that stuff. And I thought that was the thing in both of those. And then I watched, did you watch? I'm sure you watched Night Stalker.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That one was incredible too. That guy was just crazy. And I do remember that one for some reason. I guess he's more famous. But I've been watching these historical documentaries. So I watched, there was this Empires of Rome. There's one called Empire Games I've been watching, and it's about all these past empires, like the Greeks and the Romans, and they did Egypt and all this stuff. And it's fascinating, and it leads me to a very weird, off-the-wall thought that this is thousands and thousands of years ago, And people who think we evolved from fish or whatever, why haven't we evolved since then? Because it's all the same stuff. I mean, it's the same politics. Maybe we assassinate each other a little less because the Romans were good at that.
Yeah.
But in general, it was nothing's changed.
But you're talking about nothing changing in thousands of years compared to millions of years.
Maybe so. But
like if you say,
I still think,
do I look way different than like if you narrow it down, if you squeeze the Earth's history into a lifetime, like thousands of years, like 5,000 years is like a year, or not even a year. So it's like, did I change from last year to this year? But how much have I changed from birth to where you are now, Fred? You've changed a lot, friend.
Yeah.
Your nose, when you were born, your nose wasn't like that.
Oh, no, it was. I came out with a beak.
Oh, my God.
In fact, they pulled me out nose first.
Your poor mom. Yeah. That must have been terrible.
Yeah, she's hated me ever since. So, just kidding, Mom. But, all right. Real quickly, I'll wrap it up here with AJ in just a second. But I want to tell you, I mentioned the fundraiser we're doing for the Phoenix on Westheimer. It's August 26th. It'll be 6 to 10 p.m. And it's for a great cause. This young man, Daniel, was in a car accident. He's paralyzed from the waist down. He's got so he needs help. He can't work. At some point, he may walk again, but it's going to be a long, long process. So we're doing that on August 26th at their new place over on Navigation. It's an event center. It'll be indoors. There'll be tickets, but you'll get. We've got great barbecue. We've got great food. Some of the best chefs in Houston are going to bring their wares. We'll have the live music from 6 to 10. We got a mariachi band. We got a couple of my friends' bands, and then we're going on the last one. And it's just going to be a great event. We'll have famous people there you can take your pictures with. We're going to have a memorabilia auction, and all that money is going to go to take care of Daniel. But as of now, guess what? I'm sure there's at least one U.S. Women's World Cup fan out there. At least one. Well, they're going to have the Vietnam game tomorrow at 8 p.m., Friday at 8 p.m., and they're going to be open for all the games. Doesn't matter what the start time is. Vu was telling me he'd be there at 2 o'clock on Friday. The kitchen will be open, but they have to stay within TABC hours for alcohol. So, if you're going for the 3 a.m. games, you'll have to wait, but you can start drinking whenever they can do it. So go check them out, the Phoenix on Westheimer. Great people. My favorite bartenders are all there. My favorite owner is there, and it's just an amazing place. Great soccer bar, the best in the city, but also my place to go watch Astros games. And when it's not 400 degrees, I take Kira out back, and we watch the game on the big screen. So,
Fred, do you want me to get you down a bet on that U.S. Women's National game?
No, I think I'll pass on that. I'm good.
They're only minus 40,000.
Oh, really?
So if you bet 40,000, you can win $100. So it's like seems like good value.
Yeah, that seems like awesome value to me. I don't. What was New Zealand though that won last night? They were not. They had to be plus something. I don't know. I wasn't.
I don't know. They weren't minus 40,000. I know that much.
Yeah, they're supposedly just a bunch of minor leaguers that they put together, and
it's embarrassing.
And they beat Norway. So. But well, I'm not really paying attention to it, but if the games are on there, I usually watch them. So, all right, one last thing to get to here, which I think do you have any MMA picks coming up? I mean, that you're fired up about?
Yeah, well, first they announced yesterday that Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev are going to rematch in October in Abu Dhabi. Hamzat Chimaev and Paulo Costa is going to be on that card as well. So that's a big deal. But for Saturday, I like the co-main event is Yulia Stolyarenko and Molly McCann. And I'm going to go under 2.5 rounds. It's minus 140-ish. Yulia Stolyarenko is terrible. She sucks. And she's doing something absolutely crazy. Her last fight was at 135. And it ended up having to be a catch weight because she came in at 139 and she looked like she was dying on the scale. So what did she do? She dropped down to 125 pounds. How is that going to fix things? So she's fighting Molly McCann, who is not very good either, but she's going to be in much better physical condition is my guess. And Yulia Stolyarenko is like a one-trick pony. She can armbar you, and that's about it. And Molly McCann's bad enough that she could get armbarred, but the more likely thing is that Stolyarenko just tires out and gets pounded out. Either way, under 2.5, whichever of those results takes place, under 2.5 is the way to go. So under 2.5 minus 140 in Saturday's co-main event.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I look forward to talking to you again next week. And I'm glad that you agree with me that this month sucks a lot more.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. Miss you, brother. Always appreciate the time, man.
All right. I hope to be out there soon. I just got to get a couple more advertisers going on this thing, and I'll be out there. So
let's go.
Maybe I can do it with you in person from
that'd be fun.
Pre-game studios. All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother.
Again.
See you guys.
All right, guys. I got a couple more things for you, but I want to get caught up a little bit on the chat just because I apologize. When AJ's here, we just kind of get going. We just do our thing. So, said boss, thanks for checking in. He likes the hat. Walt's here. Rain Man. I'm still working on this scroll. B. Hannon. Decap. Asymmetric wrist, as always. Asked a couple questions, and unfortunately, I asked those for you. Heartthrob in the house. David Hendricks in the house. Chucky D. Flippo Rodriguez. Man, so good to see all you guys in here. H-Town Dude. I miss the daily thing a little bit, but I like this better. I mean, it makes it a little bit more exclusive. So, all right. So I've got a couple of things for you for final thoughts. And I always like to find a couple goofball stories to finish the show with. So we'll start with this one. And we go to Oklahoma. So Heartthrob, this is on you. An 11-year-old boy caught a fish. Well, good for him, right? That's what 11-year-old boys should be doing, being out fishing, not being abused by priests. But an 11-year-old boy caught a fish with human-like teeth. So there's a picture of it, and the teeth very much look like bottom teeth on a human being. And which leads me to the obvious conclusion. Somebody in Oklahoma, what did they do? They banged a fish. It's the only explanation. Big Freaky Mike's in the house. Pelly Rat's in the house. God, it's been a spell, guys. It's so good to see everybody. Chris from Sam Houston. Hope I got everybody. But anyway, so some Oklahoma guy banged a fish. Heartthrob, I hope it wasn't you. And I hope it was a big fish. But anyway, and finally, this is one I probably should have brought up when AJ was here. The Nevada license, they have those, just like every state has those vanity license plates. Well, someone in Nevada had one that says, go BK2CA, basically saying go back to California. And they had to revoke it, which I guess the Californians who are moving there got their feelings hurt. You know what? We got that here. We got Californians moving here. Guys, we're full. We don't need you. I don't think Nevada needs you, but hey, if you're going to go there, you gotta roam it, right? You got to do the whole when in Rome, do like the Romans do. Hey, guess what? If I move to Oklahoma, I guess I have to bang a fish. If I move to Florida, I have to do something nutty. That's just how it works. You're going to Nevada, then treat the people who were there. Treat them well. And stop running from California. So, Mud Dog says we have a billboard that says, don't California my Texas. Yeah. And then Rain Man says mermaid. Okay, mermaid's different. That's not a fish, technically. If it's, yes, it may have a bottom half that's a fish, but if the top half has breasts, yeah, that's a woman. Woman fish. Either way, I'm down with it. Oh, all right. Guys, I'm going to wrap things up here today. Just a couple of things to clean up with, and I want to thank everybody once again for You know, the response has been great. People really are enjoying the podcast. I'm getting tons of positive feedback, and please just keep hitting me up. And if you got any in-depth feedback you want to throw me, just go thefalconcast@yahoo.com, and just email me there. Make sure you put the in front, because I don't know what Falconcast guy by himself is getting from you. But anyway, and also, if you guys want to advertise, or if you know anyone who might, please send them that email. thefalconcast@yahoo.com. We just need a couple more sponsors, and I'll be able to add a third day. So I'd like to keep growing this thing. And, you know, we've got our great premium sponsors, you know, Dr. Lindo, Lawyer Dave, the Phoenix, and one more, and we're in great shape. And if you just want to support the show financially, a few people have asked, it's thefalconcast@paypal.com. Every little bit helps. All right, it'll be up here in a few minutes for those of you who missed some of it. I think it was pretty good. It's always fun working with AJ. He's the greatest. He's still a very good friend, as you can probably tell, and you know, fun show. I'll be back on Monday. Chris Dell will be doing some gambling with me, and I'm working on a couple other guests that will be interesting. And I've got some fun shows coming up, and including a couple of reunion shows with some other old friends that you guys will love. So thanks so much for tuning in, and till Monday, stay sportsy, Gulf Coast bitches.